pooper?
I'm not. Not yet.
Not yet.
I'm a night pooper. So is Lita.
Evening pooper.
I am an afternoon pooper. I am. It's like between 1 and 4 in the afternoon.
That's hard.
Is this too personal? I'm so interested in poop talk.
This is amazing talk. I think talking about our excrement is just as important. Like when I walk my dog and I look at their poop, I know their health. Why can't I do the same and like look at my poop and be like, oh yeah, that's healthy? I know that's kind of weird. It sounds weird, but
No, it's totally not weird because
okay.
my family kind of instilled that in me, or especially my grandma, who is a doctor. She will ask me about my poop just to see if it's healthy.
My grandma always called it bowel movement. Did you have a bowel movement today? Because they're nurses. That's such like medical talk. The bowel movement.
Yeah, and with my cat right now, I'm also like, I want to be observing her poop too, or her bowel movements, because it'll tell me if she's eaten anything bad, or whatever I'm feeding her is good for her body. It's such like an important sign of health. Kind of like reading tea leaves, but like for your bodily health. And
I like that analogy.
Instead of your future, it's your
yeah,
present.
instead of your future, reading your present.
That makes me want to talk about the time for 6 years of my life when I only used a compost toilet, and how wonderful that felt to know that the minerals I brought into my body in terms of food or water, I can then put back into the earth to be recycled and to nourish other beings, including myself potentially if there's like a fruit tree growing. We didn't grow fruit trees, but that's some examples of Humanure composting that I saw at Quail Springs. So cool. But just putting it back into the earth to feed other creatures recycles minerals how it should be, instead of flushed into water to then be treated with chemicals or what have you, wasting water and wasting the mineral content of our poop. So we kept it, under low. It was a low-key operation because it was not legal in Los Angeles, but there were some folks who had Humanure composting permits. And someone who does a lot with that is Nance Klehm. She's been a mentor of mine. She does a lot of really cool poop projects in the Chicago area.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know you did permits. That is so American.
I know, poop permit. You can't poop there, sir. Permit. And then he's like, I got it right here. We're good.
Can't give me a ticket. Got my poop permit.
Well, all of those things are very much related to life and death. Because it's like, when you're pooping and it's not good. You just know.
Yeah, and I also feel like learning to use more of these like resources that are readily available to us, such as urine for nitrogen as well, really helped me put into perspective around like the health of my own body, because whatever I'm putting out that I want to use on the land and on the plants will go to them. And
right.
Yeah, and I also think about just like how in this day and age so many people are on like chemicals and pharmaceuticals, and that makes it dangerous for that manure to be used, because that's something that is not, I don't want to say natural, because it's also like some people really need that medication to keep living. Perhaps like requires like new understanding around the knowledge that our ancestors had around like this like really fertile source. It does make me consider like a lot more around like what I put into my body, just because I know what I put into my body can also go into the earth. So it's like a closed loop system, and I can't just like discard it and ignore it if I think about myself in relation to the land like that.
It is weird to think that our poop just goes into a bowl of water.
A clean bowl of water.
Down a tube. Hi, Lita. I'm sorry. Hey, stars. How you doing?
Hi, stars.
Doing good.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Did you poop today?
No.
Not yet.
No.
What time do you usually poop? Is that okay to ask you that?
Mm-hmm. I poop at night.
Oh,
Okay.
poop. Okay, that's good. Before you go to sleep.
Mm-hmm. I'm called the night pooper.
Like that.
Nice.
Do you need to go poop right now? No. You sure? Yep. Okay. You have to go potty before bed? Yep.
Okay.
I always go night pooping.
You're always night pooping?
But not all the time.
Do you poop once a day usually? Do you poop multiple times a day?
I poop one time a day. And that's why we eat a lot of fruits and veggies, huh? So we can have good poop. And so I can make stuff. Yes. And seeds and nuts and flax. We put flaxseed in our smoothie today for our poop health.
That's really good poop material right there.
That is really good poop material.
Yeah, like if you're composting your poop or you're using your pee, you would be putting pharmaceuticals you're taking into the soil and stuff like that. So yeah, it's definitely some accountability if you're like, well, if I don't want to grow food from what I'm putting out, then maybe I need to try to have an exit plan or exit strategy, at some point.
Exit strategy. Exit strategy.
Yeah.
While also disclaimer, no judgment on folks that, that
There's so much connected to our stomachs and our digestion. Our poop is such a telltale sign of what's going on. Like, I just know that when I'm having like poopy problems, that usually there's some kind of anxiety happening, and there's like, whether you can't go or you're going too much, there's like an imbalance there. And then when you have really good, fabulous fruit and vegetable and flax poops, it's just, you just feel that your body is cleaning itself properly, and it's very satisfying.
Satisfying is an excellent word for that.
Yeah.
I've had conversations with many people about poop just because it's so fascinating. And I think one of the funniest things is having a conversation with my friend around like achieving the perfect poop, which is the poop that doesn't trail after you poop out. It's just like really clean, and is like, brown in color, not like yellow or too dark, and just like comes out really easy. And then like you don't have to wipe after. That's like when your gut health is at 100%.
Yeah. It's like a one wiper. Like anything more than one wiper, like, oh.
You're like, oh no, oh God, oh, still going, all right. Why is there so much shame around pooping? I just don't get it.
I think it's part of the like anti-brownness, you know, like anti-earth, anti-brownness. We are not nature. Poop shows us that we are nature. We poop like all the other animals, you know? Maybe.
The concept of like privacy and bathrooms, and I think it has like some sort of connections of the Victorian era around shame.
Yep.
And like hiding our bodies.
Yep. You're totally right. It's freaking Victorian.
Is that the same area where they would always have a vomitorium as well?
What's that?
Like behind the curtain, there was a bucket and you could vomit the food that they ate so that they can continue to eat.
Yeah. I think it's more like Greek, ancient Greece or ancient Roman. Seems like one of right. It was like the gluttonous like consumption.
Yeah.
Like just eat as much as you want and then just go puke in that bucket and then come back to the feast table. You're good. Like that. Blah. That's weird.
Yeah. So
I'm
weird.
not judging them. But it's a overconsumptive methodology.
Wasteful. I'm gonna judge. All right. I'm just saying. I'm judging. It's wasteful.
It is from Rome. It's from ancient Rome. And it said they did exist, but the word had entirely different sense. It wasn't until the end of the 4th century AD when scientifically named Macrobius referred to amphitheater passageways that disgorged patrons to their seats as vomitoria. When did the term's more widely known meaning arise? From a comic novel in 1923 called Antic Hay.
Whoa.
And the term first referred to a room adjacent to the dining chamber where gluttonous eaters could throw up the contents of their stomach in order to return to their couches. So Romans didn't do this. It was brought, but it is a myth that captures the decadence, debauchery, and excess of the Romans' eating habits.
So where's it from?
It was from a novel fiction.
Huh.
According to history.com. Fact check.
We're hitting on something here just in terms of like waste and reuse and like the cycle of shit, literal ass shit. Like that is one of the main things that we just, in the same way that we're disconnected from the death and our own souls leaving our bodies, we don't even know what happens to our own crap. And how could you have a healthy relationship with the earth and all of the things going into you and out of you if you don't even know where your poop goes or like what grows from it or like it? I don't even know. I mean, it would be so interesting to do like a sewer tour. Like I would just love to know like what the fuck happens. Cause you know what they do? They put it all to a sewer plant. That shit gets like filtered out and then they clean the water and then pump it back.
I've been to a sewer tour in the East Bay. It was pretty cool.
Tell us more.
There's like three processes, if I remember correctly. There's 3 processes, so they get cleaned and then like cleaned again. And then like I guess like the filter water goes back out into the bay, and the waste, the really cool part is actually the waste is used as energy to like run part of the plant. So with like solid waste and whatever waste is used to run part of the plant. And and then we walked through this basement that was really gnarly because that's like also where the waste would flood, but there was none at the time that we were in there. But the tour guide was like, do not touch the railings.
You've been warned. Do not touch the railings.
Yeah, and then I like forgot and touched the railing. I was the only one.
No, you didn't. Oh God.
Yeah, like sewer plants, really fascinating. I would recommend a tour.
I would love to have a tour.
Mm. Some places use different kinds of dung also to cook with.
Cow
Yeah.
dung is really good fire starter or like burners.
Yeah, like the cow pie.
The patties, yeah. I've seen that on like countryside, like Tibetan houses. They would slap them all against the wall, have them dry, and then save it for later use. It was so beautiful too. It looked like such a beautiful like decoration of the house.
Against the wall.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
I love the shades of brown in poop and soil. I just love like all the different colors. Like looking at a pile of dirt and mud, for example, like all the shades of brown from like red clay to sandy to like deep with lots of organic matter, like deep dark brown. And yeah, like knowing our poop health reminds me of also like examining our soil health and like being able to see like, oh, this color means this thing, or you know, this consistency means that. I don't know why, I wanted to share that.
I like that you brought it back there, and Rebecca also kind of bridged the original topic of cycle of life and death and our connection. You know, I think it's just as important to analyze the health of our soil and experience it via composting. You know, there's something as simple as composting, whether we do it ourselves or bring it to a facility that does it. I'd like that we can be engaged in that process of restoring the vitality of our soil, of our earth.
Dongi, if I wanted to use my pee for nitrogen in my garden, how would I do that? Do I need to dilute it?
Yes, the ideal dilution would be 1 part pee to 10 parts water, because our peas are very rich in nitrogen, so putting it directly in might burn the plant. I've also read that the morning pee is the best pee to use because that's like from your whole night's kind of process in your body. So the first one is the most potent one, and oftentimes like the brightest or the darkest one, that's like the good one to save.
So do you like squat over a bowl, or like what's your favorite way to catch your pee? Just getting technical here.
I haven't caught my pee in the morning yet because I'm usually still half asleep. But I guess I've thought about it. I think my method, I would get like one of those 5-gallon buckets. And there's also like the compost toilet lids that you can get for like camping and stuff that fits on those 5-gallon buckets. So I can just like set one up aside next to like the flushing toilet, save my morning peas, and then dilute it 10 parts, and I have the bucket ready to go.
Fill it up with
pee.
hose.
Yeah. And then another thing I learned is that it's best to not save your pee for too long because like, what do you call that process where it oxidizes? Is that? And so it gets like really pungent, like you can smell the ammonia if it's left sitting for too long. So it's best to kind of like pour it out soon after you put it out of your body.
Just did a quick search. Thank you so much for sharing that, because I think I'm going to try it tomorrow. And a 5-gallon bucket sounds perfect because then you can add all the water right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of looking up like what plants like a lot of nitrogen, and it looks like lettuce, like all the green leafy lettuce plants like a lot of nitrogen, which is great. Like I just planted some lettuce seeds, so I think I'm gonna give them some nitrogen tomorrow.
And when you water with your pea, you ideally want to like not water directly on it, so to prevent backsplash if you're eating directly, eating the leaves directly.
Good point. Thank you for that reminder. That might be hard to avoid in my garden bed.
Pour low,
Pour low. Oh yeah. These are like seeds, so maybe I should wait till they grow. Maybe I'm also looking at Brussels sprouts and rhubarb also like a lot of nitrogen.
Wouldn't it be so awesome to have rhubarb grown pies with your own shishi pea?
Yeah. Close the cycle, close the loop.
Why not?
Be a useful animal.
Yeah, I've been using, so since we're talking about poop, we're talking about death, we're talking about pee, let's talk about blood. And I've been using the Diva cup, or a receptacle, as opposed to like using pads and tampons and such. And so I'm really mindful of my vaginal health and make sure that I can breathe and it's nice and healthy and lubricated. And so what I do with my blood is I actually give it back to the earth. And I would love it if more people were into that sort of thing. Is that like can we make that a thing? Can we make that a trend?
I do it too.
Yes. Blood sister.
Yeah, I think it's really important. And I learned that from my friend Makana, who's a Hawaiian sex ed teacher. And she did all this research and is working, I think she finished her PhD? Can't remember, but she was writing all this research on ancient Hawaiian menstrual practices. And she shared a lot of really amazing things with me. And, I feel like when I started doing that, I was like, okay, well, I think I could kind of start doing this, And I was like, not sure, because I'm like, is it weird for me to put my blood here? I don't know. I wasn't sure how that would be, but I actually saw her give a talk on the Mauna on this exact conversation, and it was so beautiful. It was one of the most beautiful days up there, because she was just like, there was a whole big crowd people, and there's no mics or anything, so she was just like explaining why it's important and why their ancestors gave blood back, offered their blood back, and how blood is like, it's like we're talking about all of these excrements as like the nastiest, dirtiest things of our body, or whatever, the ways that we've been trained to think about them. But at least in the Hawaiian mindset, and this probably goes for most other people too, is like blood is the most sacred thing that could possibly leave your body, because it is like your life force, basically. So you don't want it to like just be exposed. You don't just want to like dump the thing in the dirt, There's ritual and ceremony and tradition around it, and there's also, it's buried in a certain particular way. She shared with me that the Hawaiians would wrap it in a particular plant, or that they used like fern, a special kind of fern to hold the blood, and then it would be buried like in a particular place. So yeah, there's just a lot. There's a lot there. It's such an important conversation.
I've definitely buried my menstrual blood under a tree before.
Yeah, so fun. So important.
It was so nice living at the yurt where I peed outside and could just literally squat and pee and offer my moon blood, and then cover it up. It's nice when our body reminds us that we're mammals. I feel like we're trained to think of ourselves as humans and not mammals, that humans aren't mammals or something. And it's nice when our bodies recover like more of a direct connection to poop cycles and blood cycles, and directly just giving it back immediately to the earth is so nice. But yeah, I love being reminded that there's ritual and protocol around that. And so that's like the missing link for so many of us. It's like knowing how to do that. So thanks for sharing that.
Makana's whole, what she tries to teach her students is like, even if you don't know like what the protocol is, just make it up and like make that the tradition. And so she teaches all her students and like their families, a lot of her work is about getting the whole family involved in the menstruation ritual, the monarchy. And I think that's really cool. So I think for all of us too, it's just about like finding that for yourself and what that is, and like deciding, and you know, maybe learning more about what the specific protocol could be if people know. But if not, then you know, you're rebuilding that relationship.
Mm-hmm.